The next speaker is someone who I truly, truly admire. He commands the highest amount of respect possible. I reached out to him for possibly being in this event, and he responded immediately, and he said he would even miss his own radio show to be here. The next speaker is someone I truly admire, Dennis Prager.
Thank you so much. That's all right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. Give Kyle a hand, because the guy, and I'll tell you why I said that. I don't normally ask that the person who introduces me gets an ovation, but he has the rarest of the good traits. There are many good traits in the human being, in some human beings: honesty, integrity, loyalty, kindness. But the rarest of the good traits is courage. It's also the most important, because all the kindness and goodness and all these other things are ultimately worthless if you don't have courage. And he does. This is a big deal. You have to fight, and you have to fight clean. You have to fight smart, but you have to fight. And that's what he knows. Just for my own curiosity, not to make me feel good, truly out of curiosity, how many of you have seen a Prager University video? So I take it more than one. Is that, did I pick that up correctly? I'm honored. That's really great. And I know that there are some Prager Force people here. If you, and those of you who are not members and want to help us out, we are more than honored for you to apply. By the way, I just want to say that Turning Point is one of the greatest organizations in modern American history. Turning Point and Prager University are, what do they say? They're the Army and we're the Air Force. Because and they're on the ground, and it's a wonderful, wonderful partnership. I only have 27 and a half minutes, so let me tell you, because I have so many important things to tell you. First, I'm going to tell you something sad. I admit it, this is not the happiest speech I could give. And as my family who were here, one of my sons and my wife, and I said before coming how important I consider this talk. I mean, I have this few minutes to tell you the most important things I can. One of them is this: I actually feel for your generation. You are not raised in the same country I was raised. I'll just tell you that. The thought that teachers are told, for example, not to call their students in first grade boys and girls. This is now almost national. It started in Charlotte, North Carolina. Teachers were told, elementary school teachers, don't call your students boys and girls, call them students, lest you impose a gender identity on them. One of the delights of life is to figure out what it is when I'm a girl or when I'm a boy. It's one of the delights of life to figure out, how do I relate to the other sex? It's a challenge and it's a delight. To impose gender confusion on children is a form of child abuse. It is impossible for me to overstate the damage that the left does to Western civilization. Not liberals, and this is a very important distinction I want you to remember. Liberal and left are not the same. Unfortunately, most liberals do not understand this, but they're not. And here is a perfect test to figure out if a relative or a friend or a classmate is a liberal or a leftist. Do you believe in separate dorms for black students? If they do, they're leftist and racist. If they don't, they're liberal or conservative. Please understand, when I grew up, the notion of an all one-race dorm was the epitome of racism. The whole liberal agenda was racial integration. The left-wing agenda is racial segregation. And they have the chutzpah to call us racist? They epitomize racism when they have separate black dorms and separate ethnic graduation exercises. That's one great example. I'll give you another classic example. The greatest defenders of Israel were liberals. The haters of Israel are leftists. That's one fantastic clarification. If you don't understand that Israel is morally in a different universe than its enemies, there is something wrong with your moral compass. If you don't understand that America has been in a different moral universe than its enemies, likewise. These are dividing lines between liberal and left that I wanted to make clear to you. Two more things about the left, and then to the essence of what I want to tell you. Two more things, and I could spend, obviously, the entire talk on that. And that is, not only is there no more boys and girls, there are also, they don't believe in borders. And you must understand how important that is. They really don't believe in the existence of the nation state. This bothers them. Israel just passed a law that it is a Jewish state. This drove the New York Times crazy. Why is that terrible? Because they don't believe in national identities. Unless the national identity is Palestinian. Then they are very, very keen on national identity. But aside from that, they don't like it. Here, when I grew up, I watched Superman on television. And it was Superman, and it was, The American Way, Truth, Justice, and the American Way. He would be flying through the sky, and the announcer in his stentorian voice would go, Superman, representing these three things. And then, about 8 years ago, Superman Comics had Superman standing in front of the United Nations, and he renounced his American citizenship. Superman went from liberal to leftist. He is now a citizen of the world because he has contempt for American citizenship. It's very symbolic what has happened to Superman. Third, no excellence. There is no belief in the left in excellence. The mural of William Shakespeare has been taken down from the University of Pennsylvania English department. Why? Because he is a white European male. The left has said that your gender and race are far more important than your excellence. So they put up, I believe, a black Latina poet, I believe. That is what is done now. There is no such thing as better. There is only not the pursuit of excellence, but the pursuit of racial and gender equality. Not even equality, representation. But if the best plays were written by a white European male, then the best plays were written by a white European male. It doesn't matter who wrote them. It matters, are they excellent? That is the essence of Western civilization, the pursuit of beauty, the pursuit of truth, the pursuit of excellence. The left hates all of those pursuits. So you are inheriting, and I've written this for over a decade, you are inheriting a civil war. It hurts me to tell you this. You're not entering a happy America. It's an America fighting once again for its idea. Because America is not an ethnicity, America is an idea. And if you get rid of that idea, you no longer have America. So I want to talk to you about America. It took me a long time to figure out how to answer, and it's very important for all of you to know this. You have to learn how to answer things both in long paragraphs and in very short phrases. Both are necessary. What does a conservative stand for? The answer is American values. But that doesn't help, because the next question is, what are American values? I have the answer for you. It's called I call it the American Trinity. Just as Christianity has a Trinity, America has a Trinity. I did not make it up. It's on every coin in America. And it is liberty, in God we trust, and e pluribus unum. I want to explain those three things. Remember, this is the only country in the world with those three values as its mottos. No other country has those. Liberty, in God we trust, e pluribus unum. And even if you're an atheist, in God we trust is as important as liberty and e pluribus unum, and I will explain in a nutshell why. You must understand that the left is at war with the American Trinity. It wishes to undo liberty, it wishes to undo in God we trust, and it wishes to undo e pluribus unum. I have explained the battle, the ideological battle in America, in one sentence. The left wishes to undo the American Trinity, the right wishes to sustain it. Let's begin with liberty. The left does not believe in liberty, it believes in equality. Equality and liberty are mutually exclusive. It's just the way it is. It's very simple. If people are free, then shortstops will make a lot more money than teachers. Is that fair? No. If a teacher is a good teacher, they are doing more for society than a shortstop. I recognize that. In fact, shortstops make, I just might add, shortstops make a lot more than radio talk show hosts and authors as well. I can live with that. I don't have a problem with a shortstop making $10 million a year for catching a ball between second and third base and hopefully hitting a ball about 1/5 of the time, between one quarter and 1/3 of the time. I have no issue with it because that's liberty. Liberty allows for inequality. That's just the way it is. But forced equality is totalitarianism. That's what you have to know. We believe in equality before God and before the law. We absolutely believe that. All men, all human beings are created equal. Absolutely. That is a given. But ending up equal is totalitarian. That's what you must understand, and they don't understand. Some do and don't care because they want power. By the way, it's a built-in advantage of every Democrat versus every Republican. They are saying, hey, vote for me, I will do more for you. And the Republican says, vote for me, I will do less for you. Who has the innate advantage? And that is because of another aspect of liberty. Liberty means, and only has meant, and the only country that has affirmed this concept is the United States of America, limited government. You cannot have liberty and big government. It doesn't, the bigger the government, the smaller the citizen. The bigger the government, the less the liberty. It is, and of course, the bigger the government, the more the corruption. Because power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. I didn't come up with that. Lord Acton did. Please understand the beauty of limited government. Limited government says the following. This was the American brand new ideal. I take care of me. I take care of my family. I take care of my community. In every other modern society, the left wing, the socialist ideal is, you don't take care of you, you don't take care of your family, you don't take care of your community, the state will take care of you, the state will take care of your family, the state will take care of your community. Why is that more noble than the American experiment? I spoke at the University of Wyoming on the subject of socialism makes you selfish. It's on YouTube until they decide to restrict it. And it is, I hope you will watch it. because I showed the left produces narcissism. We don't. We produce altruism. The conservative ideal is altruistic. You are obligated to take care of you, your family, your community. The state will not. That makes better, kinder, finer people. People who, in Europe, they give far less charity per capita per income than Americans. Why? Because Americans say, I have to take care of my neighbor. Europeans say, the state will take care of my neighbor. Why is that more noble? The next time they talk to you about Western Europe, raise that issue. Why do they give so much less charity? And the answer is because they know the government will take care of their neighbor. I don't have to. That's not noble. That's not good. The American experiment is rare, and here is something you must understand. The human being responds naturally to leftism, not Americanism. Leftism is more natural. It says the state will take care of you. More people are interested in being taken care of than in being free. Liberty is not a universal yearning. Liberty is a value. You must remember that. People think everyone wants to be free. If everyone wanted to be free, then there would be a lot of United States of Americas around the world. They don't. They yearn to be taken care of. Americans yearned to be free. Many in your generation do not yearn to be free. They yearn to be taken care of. The biggest applause I ever heard in my life was when Barack Obama told a group of young people that they could remain on their parents' health insurance policy until the age of 26. I play it on my radio show. It is the longest applause I have ever heard in my life. It was deafening. Had he announced, we have now solved the problem of breast cancer, I do not believe the ovation would have been as great. Wow, now I can be taken care of till 26. I can remain dependent on my parents till 26. That's awesome. When I was your age, the dream was not to be dependent upon your parents at 26. That was the whole point. Liberty, memorize this. Liberty is a value, not a yearning. Being taken care of is a yearning. We have an experiment that is at odds with human nature. Number two, in God we trust. The founders understood, and many of them were not classical Christians in the sense of believing in the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. It's true. Many of them were not doctrinaire Christians, but every single one was a God-centered, Bible-centered person, including Jefferson, including Franklin. Franklin and Jefferson, they designed a great seal of the United States. It was the Jews leaving Egypt. It's too bad it wasn't adopted. The two least religious founders designed a religious symbol for the United States of America based on the Bible. In God we trust is the essence of preserving liberty, because only if people feel that they are morally accountable to a God will they act better. This people on the left and atheists hate hearing, but it is so obvious. When do you drive more carefully? When you know the highway patrol is not around, or when they're next to you in the next lane? It's so obvious, only the college-educated could deny it. The American experiment is founded on the two beliefs about God. One unbelievable one. God wants us free. It's an astonishing thing. Show me another culture that said God wants us free. And the other one was, if the only way to keep government small is to keep God big. Because if people, it is the only way. It is the only way. As Western Europe becomes more and more secular, the government gets bigger and bigger. So in the United States, more and more and more rules governing human conduct in the U.S. as people become more and more secular. I knew not to do certain things or say certain things to a female that I worked with because I was raised a religious Jew and I was told this is the way you talk. I didn't need secular law. I had religious principles governing how I would talk to a female. And it worked. But if you drop all of that, then nothing's left. Then you need more and more secular law. The bigger the God, the smaller the government, unless, like in Iran, you have theocracy, big God and big government, which is the worst of all. This is what is happening in the United States. That is why, even if you are an atheist, you have to understand the value of God and the Bible in American history and to the American project. And finally, the third of the Trinity, e pluribus unum, from many one. America didn't give a damn where you came from, your ethnicity or race. Of course, a lot of Americans were racist. Everybody on earth was. Everybody on earth owned slaves, everybody who could. If you weren't a slave, you owned a slave. That is human history. By the way, just let me deal with that for a moment so you'll have an answer. Those with intelligence do not ask, why did America have slavery? Those with intelligence who care about history and not bashing America have a much more intelligent question. Not who had slaves, what country had slaves, but what civilization ended slavery. Slavery was universal. So the only question is, who stopped it? And the answer is Judeo-Christian Western civilization. That's the civilization that did it. By the way, likewise, the only question in economics is not why is X country or Y country poor. Poor is normal. Poor is like breathing. Poverty swamped the universe. Everyone was poor except for a tiny, tiny sliver of rich kings and princes. So the only question is not why is there poverty. The intelligent question is why is there affluence? And there is only one answer: capitalism. That is the only answer. It is not the answer because I'm conservative. It is the answer because it is true. So, from many one, America is a multiracial, multi-ethnic country. It is not an issue. There is such a thing as Swedish ethnicity, as Uruguayan. It doesn't matter, whatever it might be. But there is no American ethnicity. There is American values. You subscribe to them, you become a citizen. It doesn't matter if you came from Turkey or Ghana or Paraguay. Nobody gives a damn. We really don't. This is the least racist, least xenophobic, multiracial country in the history of the world. That is why so many Africans want to come to America. And here is a statistic I doubt you know, but you are free to look it up. It was first reported in the New York Times in the 1990s, I believe, or maybe earlier, by William Safire. Far more blacks have come from Africa to the United States willingly, voluntarily, than came as slaves. That's a pretty powerful statistic, isn't it? Why would they come to a racist country? Are these people idiots? Are Africans fools? Would a Jew move to an anti-Semitic country? They want to come here because they know how well they'll be treated. There was a guy shining my shoes last year at Newark Airport, and a black guy. So talking to strangers is one of my favorite things in life. Elevators, anywhere. I mean, if you like talking to strangers, you'll love me. If you don't, you'll hate me. Anyway, so I just started talking to him. I said, so where are you from? And somewhere in Africa, I don't remember exactly where. And so I just decided I would risk it. I said, I'm just curious, and I don't care what your answer is. I'm a talk show host, so make believe I'm interviewing you. I'm just curious. Do you find America racist? It was very interesting, his response. He actually looked around. It was clear he was a little embarrassed to say, no, it's not racist at all. I love it here. Because he felt he was betraying what he's supposed to say as a black. Let me end with this. This is what the Civil War is about. Do we preserve God, in God we trust, e pluribus unum, and liberty, or do we not? That's what it's about. It's an unbelievable battle. I never thought that the bases of America would be under attack, but they are at colleges and in the media. We are living through the greatest hysteria in American life. The Salem witch trials were terrible. It was a hysteria. It was localized. People apologized very shortly thereafter, and it wasn't to be repeated. You are living through a hysteria where people could say on national television that they could actually say that the Helsinki news conference between President Trump and President Putin was equivalent to Kristallnacht, to 9. You know what Kristallnacht was? It was the opening of the Holocaust. Let me tell you as a Jew how disgusting and vile it is to compare the supporters of the president to Nazis. So I leave you with this. You've got some fight on your hands, and you have to choose whether to fight or not. It's not easy to fight. You make enemies when you do. Do it as calmly as you can. But you have to, because what is at stake is the United States of America, the greatest experiment in goodness in human history. Thank you very much. Thank you.